Now the question is why we are importing this much of recycling plastics from out of the country? Whether our country has lack of this recycling plastic products. Second question, whether resources for the recycling plastics is not adequate. Third question, whether the recycling plastics, what in India, the opportunity, the growth of the recycling plastics is adequate or facilities are there, whether recyclers are there, sufficient recycles are there, whether recycles are adequate numbers, so whatever the recycling plastics we are generating. So currently, after this, the implementation of this, the waste management rule, and this waste management rule was still this is the still at ground level, which is not being implemented at the industry level, at the society level, and but still this waste management rule is now making government mandatory with making amendments and implementing it forcefully so that recyclers and recycling plastics will can get a good societal importance, and the recyclers could make it in a better way. Now, before starting this, that recycling metal properties, let us evaluate the concern, the danger situations, why recycling is required. Now we know that we are the plastic metals we are using at different levels in every corners for every applications. So it is plastics are now a household name, and the name is well, the it is well everywhere now. We all know the what is the plastics and what are that. But the next is when we are using plastics without having cautious, and when we are throwing the plastics so that we are throwing it not to anywhere in to the environment, which is also our another home. So this is the article, the news from the print is that we are consuming up to 5 gram of plastics every week, and plastics are there in water, apples, fish, and beer. This means 5 gram plastics what we are consuming every week, and those plastics are also coming alternatively to our body. And where these 5 gram plastics are coming? These 5 gram plastics are coming from those resources which are not being utilized. From those resources where we are throwing our plastic bags, we are throwing out those polythenes which are not being used, and that being mixed with the water, our food chains, our water cycles, and those again through the nature it is coming to us, and again we are consuming, which is a next danger level, which is called as the microplastics. And microplastics are such a teeny size or shape that these microplastics can come through the arrow. These microplastics can come through the trees to the seed which we are consuming directly, and these microplastics can come to through salt, through fish, beer, honey, and sugars. So all these are now the danger situations for the microplastics, which is being produced from the plastics which are thrown to the nature and which are not being recycled. And we know it very well, even our sea levels, our water levels are also coming with the microplastics. Now, the microplastics which are there in water, at one survey is that on 2019, there is a survey from the report revealed that the persons consuming about 1,769 microplastic particles each week. And it looks, if you look at the high magnification microscope, this microplastics looks somewhat like this type of the shapes. And if you think that we are using a very, this is a very decent figure, decent figure matlab कि these plastics which are, if you are taking Bisleri, we know that Bisleri is pure purifying water, but still the report shows that even these microplastics are there with the Bisleris, that is there with this 93% of these microplastics are in the bottled waters, and microplastics are there in foods like fruits and vegetables, and microplastics are there in the, this is coming through the to our health in many shape and sizes. So that is the danger situation what we are right now discussing. Right topic is a recycling of the plastics, which is highly required. A very common voice is plastics. If you ask about a technical term, we know, because we know very well what is a plastics. If you ask about the technical term, a plastics, this is nothing but a ingredients of polymers. In many technical name, it may be polyethylene, terephthalate, high density, SDP, vinyl, very names which are, during growing also we are hearing these, all those common household names, polypropylene, polystyrene. So these are basically a different monomers, and based on the monomers, the plastics are being named accordingly. And in categorically, in broad way, the plastics are two types, we can tell it: thermoplastics or thermosetting plastics. One is coming under the recycled categories, and another is coming under the non-recyclable categories. So our point of concern is now the recycled plastics and how it can be converted to the recycled plastics, and then how it can be added, converted to the valuable products. Now the plastics which are what we are throwing to the environment, mostly these plastics are not biodegradable. These plastics cannot be degraded with soil, with water, and they have a high lifespan. This cannot be attacked through the UV photons. These monomers cannot break. These monomers can break, but it cannot degrade, or it cannot fully miscible with the soils. So when these plastics will degrade, that means when we are throwing one plastic polyethylene to the soil, and gradually the soil could not degrade those plastics, but these plastics can be with the effect of this water or soil or UV rays, they can convert into fragments, small fragments, and these small fragments gradually, this monomer chains will break gradually, and this small very teeny fragments, now this will come in contact with the soil, and those which are in contact with the soil, they gradually pass through the water to our water resources, which we are calling right now as microplastics, from where we started. So the main concern is not to throw the plastics and recycle those plastics. Right now, this new amendment came. Question is that when we are throwing some plastics, we know that Kabadibala or recyclers, they are collecting those plastics and they are converting to these Kabadibalas. They are providing to some another plastic reprocessing industries, and those reprocessing industries utilizing those plastics to valuable products. Now, whatever the plastics which these recyclers could not convert to the valuable product is those polyethylenes. You know that in Bhubaneswar there is a ban for the polyethylenes, but still the people are using polyethylene in huge quantity, and those polyethylenes which are below 50 micron, because earlier the guideline was that the minimum thickness of polyethylene which will be used should be 50 micron, but right now it is 75 micron. The new amendment came that polyethylene is to be used should be 75 micron, and by 2022 or this year, this end of this 2022, this minimum thickness is going to be 130 micron or 130 micron. So that means when we are using a high thickness polyethylene, the chance when the thickness is very low, then the chances of recycling is the very less, and the recycler will not get the values, so they are not interested to collect those polyethylenes. But when the thickness is increasing, then this recycler can collect that, and at least they will show the interest for collections, and the reprocessing industries could make it recycle those plastics to the valuable products. So that's why now new amendment came for the increasing of the thickness. Now, according to BIS rules and even Plastic Waste Management Rules 2016, they have categorically made 7 categories to the plastics products. And these are what looking in your screen is these are the categories. And we know if you pick up the plastic products and look at the bottom, you can see this type of the symbols. If your symbol is 1, it is polyethylene terephthalate. You know that PET bottles, most of the beverages, water bottles, and packaging bottles, whatever coming right now to the market are the major leader is the PET or polyethylene terephthalate. They are used in the soft drink bottles, water bottles, sports, peanut butter jams, the many applications. We know that PET is the highest used plastic packaging material. And right now, this PET material are, these are the rich sources of polyester. And this PET material, if you collect this PET material, and this PET material can be reprocessed, which are being, we can recycle the PET material which is made from the polyesters. We can again utilize these PET materials to collect the polyesters. And these polyesters can be used for making your dresses and in garments, and the wearing different wearing clothes. And the next is HDP. After PET, this takes the lead position in using of the many packaging applications, and our shampoo bottles, motor oil bottles, household cleaner bottles, whatever the bottles what we are looking after PET, this HDP takes the lead. And this HDP, if you look at the symbol is 2 at the bottom of the bottles, then this signifies the HDP. If you look at the bottom is 3, then it is the PVC or polyvinyl chloride. And if you look at the 4 at the bottom, then that is the low density polyethylene. If you look at the bottom is 5, it is polypropylene. 6 is polystyrene, and 7 is other plastics. So the main purpose of giving the symbol at the bottom, according to the PWM or Plastic Waste Management 2016 rule, is basically those rag pickers, collectors, if you look at this symbol, they can segregate those plastics according to these numbers. It will be easily identifiable for them, and the processors, they can make a different plastic products according to their symbol, so that the value addition can be there. So that means if you're looking about a good property, a plastic recycled material product properties, then the segregation is highly important. And if you categorically mix the LDP with the PP or PS, then this can be called as the waste type of the plastics, which will have little importance in product applications. But if you segregate it like LDP different, PP different, PS different, then it will have a highly importance for our product applications and will have a high cost. So that's why the segregation is most of the important aspect for the collection of the recycled plastics waste. Nowadays, we are hearing that ban the plastics. These are the not to the plastics, ban the single-use plastics. Whatever, because plastics is highly essential and plastics has the many more, much more potential properties and plastics are saving to our environment because we don't have the much resources of wood because there is a alternative for plastics can be only wood which is natural resources or metals which are also made from the natural resources. The plastics is also made from the natural resources like petrol or diesel, but it has the potential of with less cost we can convert it to the value added products, or we can recycle the products. We can use it in many applications for many times. But these are the plastics which are called the single-use plastics products. Single-use plastic products are those plastics which we, after using of that plastics, we don't use it again. Let's say plastic water bottles and pouches. Once you used, then we are not using it, going to use it again. If you use it, the plastic spoon, forks, straws, glass and plates, we are using it single time. Plastic carry bags, we are using it single time. Wet wipes for personal and domestic uses. We are using it single time. After using it, we are throwing those same. Fast food containers, beverage bottles, bars and wine bottles, whatever the products which are using it single time. Now the government is the rule and regulation of the solid waste management rule is telling that whatever the plastics we are using for the single use plastics or single time, we should restrict that use, and the plastic should the reuse it again and again rather than using it single time so the resources can be reutilized and resources can be can be converted into a value additions rather than going to the waste to the nature. So the plastic waste right now, if we are concerning about the plastic waste, they are coming to the different. So they are coming from the different sources, and these sources are very well-known sources. We are using from these sources from morning to night. These sources are not your plastic chairs, not your TV which is made up from the plastics, not your the furnitures, the many furniture. These sources what we are using it single time like milk bottles, food containers, cups, soft drink bottles, juice bottles, bags, packagings, supermarket bags, PET bottles, chips. So they are the major, the contribution for the waste. That means if you are discussing about to add the value addition of the plastic waste, so these are the major resources. And these resources are the major, the major percentage of the plastic waste which are coming to the nature. We know the danger situation of those these plastics, single-use plastics, which are we are throwing it after using a single time, and it is which is again being consumed by our human body. So ultimately, if we are thinking that we have thrown something, that means it is coming to again in our body in some other forms. Now the government rule is right now a new rule has been amended. Our plastic waste management rule 2016 is now amended to 2021, where right now the plastics polyethylenes what we are using or throwing it, that is going to be 75 micron in thickness. That has been started from 30 September 2021, and from 31st December 2022 or end of this year, 120 micron thickness is going to be made. So that means this is the new amendment which is coming to this coming into the picture. So right now whatever the plastic थैली जो हम use कर रहे हैं, that should be a 75 microns. Non-woven plastic carry bags, that should be 60 gram per square meter GSM with effect from 30 September 2021. And the single-use plastics, which are coming to the the restricted categories, are coming like earbuds, plastic sticks, plastic sticks for balloons, plastic flags, candy sticks, ice cream sticks, polystyrene for decorations. Then plastic cups, glasses, cutleries, forks, spoons, knives, straw, trays, wrapping up packaging films, invitation cards, cigarette packets, and plastics or PVC banners less than 100 micron are now, right now, the restricted plastic categories or single-use plastics categories. Now the question is, we know that the plastic waste is day by day increasing. No need to to check the numbers because we know that the amount is very huge or very large. Currently, the research report tells that by 2050, the per capita production will increase by 7 kg. And India's plastic consumption right now, 20 million metric ton has been crossed to be crossed by 2020, or it has been reached the figure of 20 million metric ton of consumption of the plastics. Now check about those rules, what is framed, that is a plastic waste management rule. Now the plastic waste management rule is discussing about the how to the recycle the plastics, what are the methods for the recycling, and then how to make the recycled plastics to the value additions. Now the rule clearly discuss about the responsibility of collection of these plastics, multi-layer plastics or pouches. It is the primary responsibility of the brand owners. That means those brand owners like ITC or Britannia, who were the big brands or who were the small brands who are the selling the plastic products, plastic packaging materials. It is their responsibility for the collections. Then action plan to be endorsed by the Urban Development Corporation to the Pollution Control Board for establishing a operation or renewal of these brand owners, and this is framed in the rule number 9. And the minimum thickness criteria is not to be set for the compostable plastic bags, because we right now we know that there is another plastics is going in the market which is telling that I am not plastics, or these are the biodegradable plastics. Right now, if you are in big bazaars, in DMarts and big the big retailer shops, right now they are using this biodegradable plastics. And the guideline is framed by ISO 17088 2008, that if somebody is using this compostable carry bags, they should have the certificate from CPCB for marketing or selling, and that product should do comply with ISO 17088. Then only it can be the told biodegradable plastics products, or they can sell the plastic biodegradable plastics. So that means somebody is the don't have a CPCB registration number in the biodegradable plastic polyethylene bags, and they don't complying with ISO 17088, does not indicate that that is a plastics which is a biodegradable plastics. And second thing is that if you are selling a biodegradable plastics, maintaining of the minimum thickness, like now it's 75 micrometer, is not mandatory. Then manufacturer of plastic carry bags shall register. Whoever the selling the plastic carry bags, they should have registered to the Central Pollution Control Boards. Then the rule 4 guideline is asking about the carry bags not to be used for the packing, storing, or dispensing of the food items. That means we cannot use recycled carry bags for packaging, storing, and dispensing of food items in any form. Each carry bag shall have a name, registration number, manufacturer, thickness. So recycled polyethylene bags should have name, registration number, and manufacturer details, and thickness should be mentioned. Plastic sachets or pouches which are not permitted for packing of gutka, pan masala, and tobacco. So these are the rule four guidelines of the waste management, and all the recycled plastic should be, the labeling of this IS 14534 accordingly. So this all the plastic, the metal, they should have labels accordingly. The waste generator's responsibility for collections and utilizations. And as well as Rule 5 and 6 is discussing about the responsibility of the local body and Gram Panchayat for collection and, the conversion of these plastics to the valuable products. And plastics shall be recycled according to IS 14534, and plastic waste shall be utilized for road constructions, energy recoveries, waste to oil applications. Now, whatever we have discussed right now, the plastics which are coming under the recycled plastics. Now, the plastics, recycled plastics, there is only one is to recycle those plastics. And if you are using a recycling, but now the two categories are there. One is can be recycled and another cannot be recycled, or called as the single-use plastics. So single-use plastics which we cannot recycle, but that can be used for making road constructions. By burning it or by incinerating, we can generate the energies, and we can make it, to convert to waste to oil. This can be converted to the oil. हेलो, नमस्कार। अभी तो क्लास ले रहा हूँ, बात कीजिए। Now, how to utilize plastic waste and disposes? Now the chart shows that the measure, these are the least favored, like disposal, energy recovery. These are the least importance. So the measure is the prevention. That means we should protect to use of the recycle. We should protect for, the first not to make waste and minimize the waste. Then if waste is there, then reuse those waste. If the waste cannot be reused, then recycle the waste. If the waste cannot be recycled, then recover the energies. If all these options are not possible, then go to the disposal. So the disposal is less importance, but we know that in Bhubaneswar municipality, or in, here I am at Rajasthan municipality or Delhi municipality, the most of the plastic, they are only going for the disposal. The sites are right now gradually decreasing, and every sites, they are, the making the separate sites. They are dumping those, the all the plastic, or any solid wastes, miscible plastics, or any other plastic solids, and they are just dumping that, and those are also gradually, the deteriorating the environments and making the pollution to the environments. So the plastic, the right now, the some technologies for disposal of plastic waste, government is, the making, the more preference is making the utilization of the plastic waste to road constructions. Utilize the single-use plastic waste to cement kilns, converting the plastic waste into fuels, and that is called the refuse derived fuels, and disposal of plastic waste through plasma pyrolysis technology. These are the some favorable methods which the government is pushing, or the favoring to use the single-use plastics in such applications. So not to think that any waste is there, they can be the recycled, and they can be used to the valuable products. These are the some applications which are single-use plastics can are being used, is making a road constructions. There is one road which Bangalore and Jamshedpur road, this shows in the slide, which is being used for the which is being made by the single-use plastics. And the use of the waste, because the property of the metal depends on the waste. So the single-use plastics can be used in these are the charts how to use the single-use plastics to the road constructions. If you collect the single-use plastics, then segregate and store and clean that plastics, then shred the plastics into required sizes, and then the coated aggregated is mixed with the bitumens at temperature around 150 to 163 degrees centigrade, and this bitumen mixed plastics are being laid down uh, um, for making the road at temperature around 110 to 130, and this indicates also the plastics the increases the life of the roads, which make more less water to impermeable, and it protects against the waters, and it gives the impact more impact strength or compressive strength to the roads. So that has been proved. So that's why the use of the plastic to road construction are being preferred right now. Then whatever the paid bottles, what which we have discussed, is the number one waste contribution, which paid bottles. This is also can be recycled to polyesters, because these are made from the polyester metals. So the used bottles which can go for the not the compressing of those bottles for reducing the reducing the volume, then it can be sorted to the bottles can be sorted, and then we can wash those bottles, clean properly clean those bottles, but we should the because water is also resources, so should not waste the water. So now right now the different technologies came where with less water the cleaning process is now going on, and then these clean waters can go to the these clean water bottles are then further can be shredded to the small sizes, or they can go for the the in melting and spinning machine. They can put those shredded bottles where they in molten form they can be spin out to the different sizes of the fibers, and those fibers are which is called the polyester fibers. They can added with different pigments to the different colors, and those the fibers or knitted fibers can go to the weaving pattern, and they can weave into the different clothes, and they have also good the polyester has a good strength, good strength, and water impermeable, and very light in size, and which are used in the many garments and textile products. They are being used in much way. And then the another this is the another SEC Cement Limited. They in their project also they are right now utilizing the waste plastics, and they are also converting this plastics collected plastics by cleaning it, making shredding to the very small sizes, and they are adding to the cement through different binders, and by this way also they are getting the very good the very good strength cements, which requires less water for setting, as well as it has a more life than the normal cement. So right now they have also started for utilizing of these plastic metals for making the cements. Then many researchers, many packaging firms are right now come ahead with a Go Green initiative. They are being used for the waste plastics in different forms, making the door panels, making the seats, common general public seats, and making the different household items. So in such a ways, the first thing is that it reduces their cost, and second thing is the utilization of the resources, and third thing is that it can be go ahead with a business motive with a the revenue resources, and also the plastic waste are right now available in the market, so they can get it collected at less cost. They can they can add the value, and they can sell the products to the getting the more profits. So the many CIPET in there in Bhubaneswar also there is they have the waste recycling plant, and they are in many applications they are utilizing these plastics. And this the plastics which we now by this we came to know that the segregation of the plastic is one of the most important, and the segregation of the plastic only can tell the property of the plastics. If you segregate the plastics in the better way, then only we can tell that the plastic is good plastics. So after segregating, the different plastics has a different applications. So only those plastics applications can be those plastics can be used for such applications and such uses. So now this is by this whatever we have discussed, we came to know that the plastics recycled products are very good in addition of the properties, but all these properties depends on the what are the nature of the waste. Because if I tell the plastic waste, I can use the plastic waste is good properties, and if those waste contain the contaminants, then that does not mean that they have, if suppose they have good properties, still it is no use for me. So it is always the major work for any of the recycler for value addition, those who are the value addition or recycling industries, for utilization of the plastic waste into the value products is cleaning. So cleaning, sorting, chopping, or shredding. These are the steps which are highly required so that the plastics can go into a well, the product, and it can go into the good recycling form. So after sorting, the plastics must be chopped to the small flakes or shredded, and these flakes can be treated with the solvents and washed to remove the contaminants, and then the flakes are then sent to the fabricators to extrude into the pellets. So these are the major the process for the converting of these plastics into the products. Now this is the category that recycled materials can be used for many applications, but this cannot be used for the food containing applications, which also um, this waste management rule is also making ban to that recycled plastics cannot be used for the food containing applications, and they cannot be used for any medical applications. Except other than that, this can use for the household items. This can use for the many and the converting product for conversion of the products. They can add in small quantity to the virgin metals for the value additions, and while maintaining the properties also good, and this recycled plastics can be utilized. So those uh, forms only this recycling plastics can be used. Now the degradations, the plastics We know that it degrades at different temperatures. Each plastic have different melting points. And this plastics, what we can break it into different sizes. If you take the plastic to the melting point level, and then we can convert it to small particles and we can break it into different sizes. So so that means the plastic can melt at different temperature and can be converted into the different products. But reality is that plastics are degrading very slowly because we can only melt it and come make it to smaller molecules, but those molecules will not degrade very easily. So so that's why the plastics are only the value addition or proper value addition of the proper properties, maintaining of the properties of the plastic metal requires a proper maintaining of the melting temperature, after which only the value addition or the melting we can make it into the uh, different products or different different shape and size of the products. But if the melt temperature is more high or more less, that will also affect to the properties. Higher melt temperature can degrade the plastic products. Lower the melt temperature also would not make a proper value added products. We know that waste tires, we are also selling our tires to the waste recyclers. And most of the motor car, these tires which are made out of the nylon, and it is estimated that annually we are 8.2 million or approximately 57,301 ton of the tires are right now to the what to the as a waste. We are telling it a waste because that has to be no recycled. So we can't think this much of the waste, 57,000 ton tire to the the dumping. The only solution is to convert to the products. We can't think it's a landfilling because it is not the viable way and not the government regulated way to make it. So only the recycling, if this is called as retrading, reclaiming and shredding, by which we can make these plastics to the small forms, and those small forms can add it to different products and they can convert to the value added products. These are some applications by which we can think about the tire waste into different products. We can make it tiles or adhesives. We can mix it with asphalt for constructions. We can make it in different gym surface carpets. We can make it like a noise or vibration insulation pads. We can matting. So these applications we can make it. So all these applications depends on the what are the methodologies or good methodologies whatever we have utilized or involved in the recycling products. So the proper shredding with proper size, maintaining of the proper melting temperatures and proper processing could contribute a better value added products, or the end products can be value added products. Incineration, which is the least preferable utilization of the plastic waste, and incineration, or it is called the controlled burning, is only used to those plastics which cannot be recycled, which cannot be reprocessed, and those plastics can be goes to the incinerations. So the in by when we are going for the control burning or incinerations, that can be used for the recovery of the energies contents by burning of the molecular or molecules, and those energies or heat energy can use to boiling of the waters for generating of the steam, and those steam can utilize to movement of the turbines to generate of the powers. And the most common, so that's why the incineration is, though it is not a viable method for the, but there is no other way to utilization of the plastics is incinerations, and the most common purpose is that burning and to generate the electricity. And whatever the, the waste plastics or fumes whatever going out, that is also the technology made for, the collection of the carbons, and so that the carbon free gases could emit to the nature. So different plastics has different calorific values, and but we can't bond like PET separately, HDP separately. But this is the another the calorific value for the different metals, and as in the chart which shows that if oil has the energy values like 20,900, whereas the near to that is HDP, which is 18,700, and less than HDP is a rubber, which is 12,800, and less than rubber is a PET, is 10,900. So these are the different, the energy values which for the different waste plastics. And this is the one mostly right now this pollution in the local bodies in either in Bhubaneswar or Delhi or Bombay Municipal Corporation. So in many municipal corporations are right now they are started this methodology of through PPP method for utilization of this waste plastics into the making the energies through the incineration methods. Now we know that if you choose the option for recycling, definitely the resources what is used is less compared to the producing of new plastics. So the only the recycling is an option by which we can make a value addition of the plastic products or plastic metals. But most question arises whether the virgin plastics, whatever the contains the properties, whether the recycling plastic does have. Of course, the answer is no, because the recycling plastic does not have a similar property which is a virgin plastics. And even we cannot dictate the properties of the recycling plastics as to the virgin plastics. There is no method by which we can calculate whatever the recycling properties come to the virgin compared to the virgin products. Always the recycled plastics come with the reduced strength, and over the time this recycling plastics also the chances of the deterioration is the level of the deterioration is also high. So that's why the recycling plastics are being used mostly. 90% recycling plastics are being used while adding with the virgin plastics. Because if you maintain the 90% of virgin plastics with a 10% of the recycled plastics, definitely for the recycle for the, the product maker, it will have the high profit, and also the property wise it will have a less impact, less effect, and the recycling plastics can be value added, though it depends on even the nature and type of the plastics, recycling plastics. Because if recycling plastics contains the contaminants, then no abuse, because a small contaminant can deteriorate the full product of the full plastic products. So that is the major way where the recycled plastic metals are being added with the virgin metals and they are being reused. Now the recycled plastics have lower properties compared to the virgin plastics because the molecular chains which are being produced for recycled plastics are being damaged or contaminated, and again those molecules again reorient, or while reprocessing and breaking up the chain, again remaking of the chain is is involved with the deterioration of their original strength or properties. This is the another category of the plastics which we are known as biodegradable plastics. We are telling it biodegradable plastics because these plastics can broken down, they can convert to carbon dioxides after breaking, or water and minerals, and these plastics can be consumed by our microorganisms. So these plastics can, the fully degradable with the soils or environment. That's why we are telling about biodegradable plastics. Whereas in our traditional plastics, this is sourced because these plastic fragments cannot be, taken as a food by our microorganisms. They cannot break into carbon dioxide, water, and minerals. So right now, this that's why the government has more focus promoting these biodegradable plastics and the for packaging metals. And right now, gradually these biodegradable plastics are coming to the market. What we are purchasing it, but only the concern is the high cost and lower properties and high, lower breaking strength and high brittle properties and less tear resistance properties make it, the restriction in many applications. But for a small like 1 kg container or 2 kg container, this can take the biodegradable plastics can be, the replace those, but still due to those demerits, this could not come to the higher commercial way. The biodegradable plastics could not come in into higher commercial way. But still now, when the government is right now pushed the new guidelines with amendment of coming back with 75 micron or 130 micron. So these plastics can be right now, if the plastics will come with 130 micron, then easily can be recycled to the value added products, or they can again reuse and they can use it again our uh, mix with our general resource plastic metals. So if you are asking about the commodity plastics, these commodity plastics has the major share is which is more than 80%, or over 5 million ton of the plastics are only the commodity plastics. मतलब जो plastics हम घर में use कर रहे हैं, those plastics. So 80% of plastics are commodity plastics, and these plastics are low value household plastics, or pipes, or seeds, or packaging films. So these commodity plastics are the major resources for the waste. So these plastics, if you use it cautiously, and if you after the end of our use, if you go a proper, the format for the segregations and is collected through the collect waste collectors and reprocessed, then that the value can be added. So there are different value additions we can make it, and we can study different properties of the the recycled plastics through the methodologies. That right now there are so many of methodologies are there by which we can utilize the value addition of the or properties at a different level. And these are the one of the plastic waste which are being converted to the product, and then we have analyzed those properties through the utilizing of the ANSYS. And we have calculated at different loads by putting the properties of these plastics to find out that whether the plastic has what is the sustainable properties at a different level. So by this way we can find out that where the property has a lower rate and where the property is higher rate, and we can find out that the plastic waste can be converted to the valuable products with a much good properties, and it has a good the load bearing capacities. And even if you the converted to the cost wise also, so that is also going to be a very useful. It can be have a lower cost, and it can be converted to the valuable products. So by this we could understand that the plastics are basically the waste plastics. What we are telling you, waste plastics are those plastics which there is no plastic which is waste. Plastics can be reused, recycled, and it can be those waste what you are telling can be resources. But those resources only they can be resources if you can recycle and reprocess. And the properties of the reprocessed plastics depends on segregations, depends on the proper cleanings, and depends on the proper sorting, and then the importance is the inherent properties. If you tell about the inherent properties has the much more importance, and if you overlook the others like cleaning, sorting, segregations, and proper the shredding, then also we could not get a proper products. Because in custom rule it is also telling that if we have plastics which contains about waste plastics, if it contains about a single plastics, then only it can be converted into primary forms. But if a plastics, single plastics, which contains about two or three number of the plastic waste, then it is coming to the category of the waste. So before going to discuss about the very good tensile property, very good mechanical property, very good thermal bearing properties, the most important thing is the property wise the sorting, cleaning, and a proper methodology to be utilized for the conversion of the plastics to the good products. Because when right now here we met many recyclers, we made a program where we invited to 10 to 15 recyclers, and we asked the concern the what are the major drawback for the value addition or recycling the plastics. The major concern for them is that mixed plastics, and the second major concern was the proper cleaning, because the plastics which are coming with the contaminants and removal of those contaminants. So that means the methodology for maintaining a proper segregations according to the IS numbers, recycling numbers, and a proper putting it a proper dustbin, and then collect it in a clean manner, and then proper cleaning those plastics which will have less dust, and then only these plastics can be goes to value added products or good products with the better properties. So so this is only importance for getting of the good plastic metals or good plastic. products, rather than if I tell that you take these plastics and add with fillers and give it different filler form, add with the different, we know that if you add a filler if the properly broke, but that is not the point of the concern. The point of the concern is only the cleaning and proper collection, because we are struggling right now there at that point. So that is only the important criteria for the getting of the good properties with good plastics with good properties. So by this, I hope this can be helpful to understand this value addition of the plastics to the different products. Hello, back to Bhubaneswar.
Yes, sir.
Uh,
Yes, participants, if you are having any type of doubts, then you can ask Dr. Panda. He is here to clarify you.
I have a question. Can I ask?
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah, thank you. Dr. Panda, it was really very nice to hear from you regarding the plastic waste recycling. I'm Dr. Abhilasha, a professor in biotechnology in Faridabad.
okay.
Sir, my concern, I am basically from plant sciences, and I have been listening a lot about microplastic pollution, and you had some initial slides on that too. So I just wanted to ask that how far do the this microplastic pollution impact the plant world, and is there any substantial amount of sequestration, absorption, and deposition of microplastics in plants, particularly the root tubers that we eat or the fruit that we eat?
Actually, madam, this microplastic is right now going to be a threat. What right now, because many researchers are going to make a study on that. Your question is that whether microplastics are deposited in the plants.
Yes, sir.
The answer is yes. And how that answer is yes, just I want to go to those slides where it has been started. Now, if you check about the size of the microplastics, we know that it is a very in few microns with variable microns, and these plastics can go very easily through capillaries, because our plant is taking water from the earth is through capillary method, and these plants are taking not only the different minerals they are taking, and we know that these plastics are if you this because we are taking the water through RO, and we are thinking that RO can filter this microplastic. The answer is no. RO even cannot filter, because these plastics are below our membrane sizes. And because you see this line, popular packaged water brand Bisleri from India had the second highest number of the microplastics fibers. This is not my report. This is research reports. And the microplastics here, you can see that it is in food, it is in fruits and vegetables. It is the study from 2020 published in the environmental research. And here the result shows that we are taking the apples, but highest microplastics. That means where in apple microplastics came only through the capillaries. It is going easily, and this deposits there in the fruits. And here in plants, so that means if you, because it is not my area, our area, because now it is your area, is that if you the collect the different some sea foods, or if you collect some the plants where the near the dumped is there, or and you can, because your biotechnology area, and you can make a research with the seeds and find out what are the concentration of the microplastics. I think you can get some results, the deposition of the results. So so that is the only the concern for where the recycling is going to, the only way not to throw the plastics and utilize it in different forms. I hope I could get your answer.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. That is really a matter of concern, sir. We have been doing the studies on like heavy metal absorption by plants, but right now this is a burning issue, and we are completely ignorant also that how to measure this. We have certain very good technologies to directly measure, like ICP-MS or so, but this is really issue that how to find out the microplastics in any food product. But definitely, thank you very much, sir. We'll take up this as a research.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, participants, anyone else is having any kind of queries? I think no one is having any further queries. So I would like to thank Dr. Panda sir for addressing our participants on a short notice, I would say. Thank you, sir, for agreeing to participate and address our participants and hosting this session. The session was very interesting for all of us because the topic is so much relevant and a matter of concern nowadays. Uh, so I'm sure our participants have thoroughly enjoyed this session and have learned many new things from this particular session. They have understood the problems associated with microplastics and other plastics and how to recycle them. Uh, and they have a lot to take with them. So once again, I thank you, sir, for sparing your valuable time and addressing our participants.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Dear participants, thank you all for attending this session and making this an interactive session. So I would like to request you all to join again at 2 p.m. for our next session. The link is same for all these like 5-day event. Same link will be followed. So kindly join at 2 p.m. for our third session of this day.
Ma'am, attendance for morning session, ma'am.
That was shared, madam.
Okay.
That was shared earlier. You just fill this form now, like for this particular session.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, good afternoon, everyone. We are going to start our next session at 2:30 p.m. Am I audible to all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes. Our next session is going to start within next 5 minutes. So I request all of you to join the same link basically.
Yeah, Dr. Santosh, are you there?
I'm here, sir.
Amananda sir joined? No,
No, sir. Not
not
yet.
yet. You you called him?
I had a talk with him.
What he told? He will join.
He will join. I have sent him this link, sir.
ऑलरेडी तो लिंक था उसमें.
हर
हम
जगह
जो
पर
मेल
है
किया था
सर.
ना,
We
मेल
have.
जो किया था उसमें लिंक था. ठीक.
So good afternoon, everyone. We'll be starting our last session of this day. I request all of you to mark your attendance whenever this link for today's, particularly this session 3 link will be shared. No, sir, it is not like that. Our speakers are trying hard to join at time. Asutosh sir, if it is so, then we are sorry for delaying all this session if you are feeling like this. But we are trying hard to make every session on time. Yes, sir. It is from 2:30 only, from 2:30 to 4 p.m. our final session. Like in each day, we are having 3 sessions. So the last session starts from 2:30 basically, and each session is of 1.5 hours. So don't get confused over there. We have shared the final schedule in email. So if you are getting any type of doubt or confusion, then you can refer to that also. Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. No. Good afternoon, sir. Yes. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, madam. I'm sorry for the delay.
It's okay, sir. Our participants are waiting.
Yeah. Please.
Yes, sir. So just let me introduce
Are you
you
able
in.
to see my? Are you able to see my sharing of
Yes, sir.
slides?
Yes, sir. It is visible, sir. Your screen is visible.
I'm sorry, first of all, because there was some hiccups here. I could not able to actually work from home now today because of some COVID issues. Positive cases have come in our center. Okay, I'm sorry for that. Delayed because of some other issues also. Anyhow, I will be taking the class now. Please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just let me introduce you shortly. Yes, sir. So participants, we are now going to have our third session of this day. This is basically the last session. And we are having with us Dr. Syed Amanullah sir. He is Director and Head of CIPET IPT Jaipur. He has more than 27 years of teaching and research experience. He is basically from plastic engineering and chemistry background. He has done his PhD from IISc Bangalore in 1998. After that, he is actively involved in teaching and research. So I now request Professor Syed, Dr. Syed Amanullah sir to proceed further and present his lecture.
Okay. Good afternoon to all the participants. Once again, I apologize for the delay. Almost 25 minutes I am late. I'm sorry for that. Anyhow, within the time given, we will try to complete the presentation. And I thank Dr. Ashwini Mahapatra for giving me this opportunity. In fact, I had been talking to him in the morning, but I somehow because of some miscommunication, I got the intimation only because of that the delay also was there. However, I will try to justify the presentation whatever is given to me, because he has been asked me to specifically talk about pyrolysis techniques, right? So anyhow, if anybody is teaching on the recycling, there will be overlaps always. One person talking and other person also talk, there may be some overlaps. So for that you should get adjust with us, because everybody speak about recycling, there will be some parallel techniques or parallel presentation will be there. Always there will be some discussion. What we discuss, some you already would have been listened to somebody else also. Now let me check whatever the way I can justify my lecture. Let me see that. First of all, we see that plastics are becoming the nuisance, or in other way, we can say that the environment pollution. What do you see? Generally, the plastics ubiquitously accumulate in the environment. That is because of our littering habit, right? The plastics are good materials, okay? But anyhow, if you are using a good material also too much and with irresponsible way, so that will lead to some problems, right? Anyhow, we see that now plastics generally people are hating because the carry bag which is accumulating in the environment and which is going to be a huge shabby that means untoward situations which will result in accumulation of these plastics, and people trying to see that plastics are not good materials, right? That is the general public having the opinion. But we are the people who indulge in littering the plastics, and they are now accumulating in the environment. Truly speaking, governments or municipalities have to take the responsibility, and we have to be honest in dealing with these things, right? Because now what is the now single-use plastics and the recycling guidelines have been changed from 2021 onwards. Many of you would have listened to somebody else also. They say that the single-use plastic has to be phased out in a duration of 2 years. The next to 2022, most of the single-use plastic has to be phased out, right? Now, what is the thickness of the film as per the now new regulations? Anybody, please, in the audience? Hello?
Well, sir, you are audible.
60
sir.
microns.
Yeah. How many microns it is?
60.
No. It is 75 microns. It is now 75 microns. Earlier it was 50 microns. Greater than 50 was not less than 50 was the condition. Now, as per the new regulations, which have plastic waste management regulations, amendments have come. In that, the plastic film thickness is now 75 microns since September 30th onwards. It has implemented already. But you see the honesty of the implementation, and most of us do not know that the thickness is increased to 75 microns, and but still the processing units which are making the films less than 75 microns or even 50 microns are also encouraged, and then the film is produced less than 75 microns still available in the market. And those carry bags particularly, and when we are putting a wet waste along with wet waste, and you are dumping into the municipal solid waste particularly, then it will go to dump yards, or you are dumping in your colonies or societies where you see this plastic is making havoc, right? So the government has to be very honest in implementing the policies. If the 75 microns would have been already implemented now, the recycling would have been easy. The recycling would have been easy, and you should strictly prohibit the films which are having less than 75 microns. And subsequently, by 2022 December, the film thickness is going to increase to 120 microns. So this is the new rules. Most of us are not maybe knowing this, right? Sorry. So therefore, you have to be very honest in implementing the policies. When it is now, first thing is now strictly follow the government guidelines. Not less than 75 microns should be manufactured. And the same way, the plastic whatever you are using, and that should not go into the wet waste. It should not go into MSW, municipal solid waste. Source segregation is important. It has to be segregated at home itself, and two dustbins should be provided on the, a lot of initiatives has to be taken by municipalities. That means small towns, and then it goes to the big cities where we have corporations. So when you do that, and they collect the plastic separately. I had been there in Bhubaneswar also. For 2 years, I worked there from 2018 to 2020. I was there. So during that time, I was very very cautious in throwing the plastic. I was not, generally we don't have that feeling of when we ourselves throw that, it will become, then how the person who do not know about plastic technology and recycling difficulties, then it will not be a difference between us and other people. So I used to collect a lot of plastics, whichever way it comes. And finally, when I give it to the fellow who is coming for collecting, he used to put together and take it. That's what I was not understanding. So that means the governments do not have the recycling facilities. So they should have a recycling centers where these plastics can be converted into useful products, secondary products. So source segregation alone will not help just to avoid the plastic pollution in the environment. So you have to separate it from wet waste at home itself. Then the plastic has to be collected by the municipalities or corporation vehicles, and they should take it to the recycling center, which has to be established in most of the cities. There are some model cities where these recycling plants are already there, and now you can consider them as the zero plastic MSW. That means municipal solid waste. They do not mix any plastic, and there are huge penalties for that. And this kind of few cities are there. I do not know whether you are aware about it. I have not visited that city, but still people talk about a lot about the implementation of the plastic waste management in that city, which is nothing but Chandigarh. Chandigarh is the city where they have the recycling facility by the corporation, and they collect this plastic from the home and they recycle it, and absolutely now they are zero plastic city. So this kind of model implementations has to come into every city. And in fact, your waste, your responsibility, this kind of concept also is there. When so much of plastic is produced in the form of virgin granules by so many big industries, I don't want to name. Okay, you already know that there are so many industries which produce the virgin plastics. Like Reliance is the one which is the largest manufacturer of the plastic granules. IOCL is there now. GAIL is there, and there are so many foreign players also sell their plastic here. So why don't we governments insist them that they should install, or they should see that one recycling plant is there in every city region, so that the plastic collected separate, segregated at home, and it is recycled. Then a lot of problems can be solved. So we are all hearing about the 3R concept: reduce, reuse, recycle. So when you say that, the plastic carry bag, is it essential? Sometimes I believe that this is my purely my own understanding. I am just putting forward to you people. Why don't you stop the carry bag? I'm you just think about it. Okay, so if the carry bag is stopped completely by every government, you should not introduce again into the form of a cloth kind of thing. I have seen in Bhubaneswar the plastic carry bags were banned, and they introduced the cloth like bag. It is actually perforated non-woven polypropylene fiber bag it is. So these bags are also again made up of polypropylene. They are in the fiber form instead of having a smooth surface. So this kind of concept will not help. If you clearly say no to plastic carry bag, please see that if it can be completely stopped. Then we have to have only recycling of milk sachet or you have the food granules where you are packing like grocery and all you are packing. That is no other alternate. There you have to use plastic only. Where there is must and should you have to use plastic, you have to use it. Then when you are having the milk sachets and oil sachets and grocery pack films, these can be recycled. So when you are saying no to carry bag, almost 70% of your plastic pollution is stopped, and remaining 30 you have to handle and recycle it. That's all. So this is my purely my own philosophy, what I am observing since many years. So this is what is not happening. When you say carry bag is banned and you are introducing in another form, actually what happens, when you are manufacturing a smooth film carry bag, it needs only a small machine, blown film extrusion. Where you want to go for a cloth like bag, the same polypropylene has to be made into fibers, and then that has to be made into a cloth kind of texture, which is called non-woven fabric, and from that you are making the bags. So that means again you are bringing the same plastic into the environment. Even the cloth like bag also they are throwing into environment. So therefore, so when you are very honest, you say no to the plastic carry bag, 70% of our plastic pollution is stopped, right? So what is alternate? People may think what is alternate for that? Alternate is not the either paper bag or the cloth bag, because our population is huge and that will not be more eco-friendly. So instead of that, you can go for a basket which is made up of polypropylene and which is foldable. And all of you, as your plastic basic knowledge, you know that it is having a good hinge property. That means you can fold it several times, it will not break. So when you are having a basket kind of thing, putting out, say for example, people say, okay, basket means you need to have at least 100 grams, 200, 250 grams of plastic is needed. Yes, if you are recycling that, you can easily do that. So for carrying only is the purpose. In place of carry bag, you can introduce the basket systems where you have the small basket, medium and big, depending upon your purchase into the grocery shop. And those baskets can be reused and it can be folded and you can put in your pocket and you can go to the grocery shop. So that kind of a very, perfect solution you should bring. When the basket is made up of, though it is not a carry bag, okay, made up of, say for example, 100 grams or 150, 200 grams, definitely it can be recycled into a good products, value added products. So that means there is a solution. We are saying already reduce. But when you stop the carry bag, definitely there will be the problems will be completely, 70% of these pollution problem will be solved. Then coming to the other things, like in the packaging industry, we have the multi-layer films. These are real headache for plastic recycling industry. Why I am saying that headache means the multi-layer films, whatever these Lays, Kurkure, and irrespective of the brand, whatever you are packing the snacks, biscuits, like Britannia, whatever may be. So why don't they go for a clear film? Why they have to, for their advertisement, and they have to use the multi-layer film, and which is having a metal layer, metal film also is there in that, polyethylene terephthalate, PET film is there, then LLDP is there. Like this, there are 2 to 3, 4 layers are there. Similarly, Tetra Pak also is a headache for recycling. That is also very difficult. So these are the things has to be sorted out, and whether it is really needed, you should have it. Otherwise, government strictly should remove these multi-layer packing systems so that the plastic should be in the recycled form. It will be easy. When you are going to a bakery and the local bakery fellow will give you LDP clear thick film, more than 75 microns, and after using the snacks, you can recycle that. Then why you want to go for the multi-layers? What is the necessity? So these kind of things has to be completely, addressed, and one by one you sort out, and the problem of plastic pollution is definitely going to be, removed from the, there are solutions. What I meant to say, strictly if you do honestly, there are solutions for plastic waste. Then coming to the remaining, whatever I said, that can be easily recycled, collected at home. Whatever you have, the milk sachet, oil sachet, grocery film packed for the used for the grocery packaging. So those can be recycled easily. That means now out of 100% of whatever the pollution you are getting into the environment, 70% is completely removed when you say no to the carry bag. Definitely. So remaining 30% can be easily handled, and you have a recycling plant established by the whether the industries who are producing granules, it is well and good, or the governments, if they have the recycling plants, their own employees handling this waste and converting into the granules. And these recycled granules can be used for value added product. There are so many other things, right? I'll just quickly go through here. You would have already seen all these things. Polymeric materials are now advanced materials that are replacing the existing conventional materials. So plastics are the materials which are associated with our life. You can never escape. So you have to use them in a proper manner and see that these plastics are used properly. Without plastic, there is no life, I can say. Even in biomedical, or even without plastic material, you don't have your mobile phone even. You don't have electricity installation. So therefore, plastic materials are the advanced materials, and because of their good properties and all, and they are very versatile materials, right? So these are all the things you would have already shared by somebody else. I will also share my presentation here. So this is the now whatever the overall scenario of the plastics and where the maximum plastic is used in the packaging industry, and then building and construction and the other areas. I have given the statistics here. I'll give the presentation to Dr. Ashwini Mahapatra. Then you can take this, no problem. So really some of the myths and realities I have shown here. All these things you would have already covered with somebody else, right? So then coming to biodegradable. And how many people will recommend for biodegradable plastics? I'm neutral person. I am not at all against any industry or something like that, right? How many of you will recommend for biodegradable? My topic is paralysis. I will come to that point. Okay. What is paralysis and why you need that paralysis technique? That point I will discuss later. Okay. Now let us see. It's a general discussion, whatever I have done so far. Anybody go for the biodegradable plastics? How many of you vote for biodegradable instead of the conventional plastics in the packaging? Or any answer, please? Is it the biodegradable polymer solution? That is what I have written here, you see. Plastics are not necessary to be biodegradable as they can easily be recycled into value-added products. Littering of plastics into environment is only a serious concern as it is difficult to recollect and recycle from the garbage. I have one more slide, I believe. Yeah, this slide you see. Now your answer will come here. Next slide I will show. How many of you in favor of biodegradable plastics? Do you think that biodegradable plastics are the solution?
Sir, for reserve, for the it is I also support biodegradable plastic because due to the depleting non-renewable resources, we can depend on that.
Non-renewable
renewable resources,
biodegradable.
Yes, sir, most of the polymers, biodegradable polymers, we can make from renewable resources.
No. They are from petrochemical only.
Yes,
partially
sir.
only partially
yes,
only the CC biodegradable polymers which are available in the market. They are petrochemical based only. They are petrochemical based, and some you can produce from the
lactic acid also we can produce.
Okay. Yes. Some of the biodegradable plastics are
yes, sir. So
they are not from petrochemical, and you mean to say that they are sustainable?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. On the basis of that source, we can say we could prefer biodegradable plastic. And in this aspect of recyclability, it is not necessary.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling. With respect to recyclability, do you need biodegradable?
No, sir. No.
No, the
Actually,
plastic pollution, does it going to help?
No, sir. Degradable plastic mostly not recyclable also.
No, it can be recycled, and
A few.
but it is has to be separately sent for biodegradation. The
Yes, sir.
maintenance you need for biodegradable
Yes, sir.
plastics
Combusting
is much
conditions
more
are,
than the conventional plastics.
yes. Combusting conditions we need to provide, sir.
Yeah, please, you see that there is no such biodegradable plastic which can degrade on its own, right? You throw it. You are having a littering habit. You throw it with along with wet waste, and it will be biodegradable. No, it is not like that. The biodegradable plastics also has to be collected separately, and they have to be, I mean, disposed into a favorable conditions. Okay, so when you are going to keep it in the particularly compost and also temperature around 55 degrees centigrade, okay, then you need to have the humidity also around 60 percentage, then only it can compost. That means it can be completely degraded into carbon dioxide and compost. Then you can recycle. I mean, you can be saying that the plastics are biodegradable when you do these conditions only. So if you are doing littering, you are having a carry bag made up of a biodegradable bag, and you throw the biodegradable carry bag into the environment with the municipal solid waste, the result is same. So therefore littering does not help. So therefore many industries, I would see that they are promoting biodegradable plastics for particularly carry bags and all, and that is not a wise idea, I believe, because they are costly first of all, and they also say so many things like I am not plastic, I am compostable, biodegradable, so many things, some catchy words they will say, and they are trying to I mean, incorporate into the market, and they want to promote their products. Plastic is it's a macromolecular material. Every material is a plastic only, whether it is a biodegradable or non-biodegradable, all are plastic materials only. Biodegradable is the one is that if you are controlling the conditions for composting, 55 degrees centigrade and compost environment, they will certainly biodegrade, right? So I believe that biodegradable films are needed, but where? And as a technocrat, particularly the plastic technology graduates and polymer science researchers, they should know that these can be used very suitably in the particularly what you call the application is now the agriculture, advanced agriculture systems have come. No, they use this mulching technology. So mulching film, what is mulching film? Mulching technology in agriculture, when you are covering the field with the thin film,
Film, sir.
yeah, polymer films, no, plastic films, and then wherever there is a plant is there, there will have a small holes, and throughout that we have a lot of videos, you can see that. So the advantage of mulching film is it will not allow the weed to grow, unnecessary plants will not grow surrounding your crop, and particular plant what you are planted, that one only will be surviving because other area is covered, and it will I mean small amount of water is enough because it will take care of the evaporation of the water also, and because of that the good yields are coming, and the maintenance has become less, and the more profit is there in the advanced agriculture systems where we have this kind of drip irrigation, less water is needed, and then we have mulching technology where weed growth is stopped and the evaporation of water also is taken care. So therefore these kind of mulching films, if you are using biodegradable, because after the crop harvesting 3 months, 3 or 4 months, then this film is has to be removed, and it has to be if it is polyethylene, it is very difficult to remove the soil and recycle. So if it is a biodegradable one, and it will be having that 55 degrees centigrade, whatever these conditions I am showing in this slide, you can maintain in a corner of your field with the solar panels, whatever may be, and compost also you can have it there. If you dispose this film there, it will convert into complete compost, and so that you can use this compost also for again your crop. So in that application it is well and good, where you cannot use the conventional plastics. So you have to identify and justify the plastics. So biodegradable plastics will be very much welcomed in that particular application, and they can be promoted in this mulching technology, advanced agriculture systems, and they can be very good candidates to serve the society and particularly agriculture industry, so that the agriculture industry is benefited from this biodegradable. But other biodegradable carry bags not needed in the temples or in the five-star hotels or some malls. They are introducing this I am not plastic kind of carry bags. Okay, so that is a wrong concept, I believe. It is all whatever I am talking, it is my own understanding and my own experience and my own pursuits. Okay, please, if you have any discussion on this, you are welcome. So okay, I'm not, I already told you, biodegradable plastic industry or nobody I am having any conflicts. I am talking like this. They are not needed. That's what is any plastic technologist understand. So they don't need any carry bag or for packaging film and all. Biodegradable is needed. You can, well and good, you can use the conventional plastic, which as per the guidelines now 75 microns, or you can go up to 120 by the end of this 2022. So let us see that now. That may help in recycling, easy recycling. Why you are increasing the film? Easy recycling, right? Easy collection and easy recycling. So, but still 75 micron and 120 micron will be sufficient enough to recycle even you are littering? No, I don't think so. So that is why you say no to carry bag, no to carry bag, then you introduce some good system so that it will take care. And one more thing I will tell you here, there are some pollution control boards where you see hospital waste was collected. This with my experience only I am talking again. So the recycled plastic granules, no, after the plastics, commingled plastics you recycle and you produce granules, you can make the disposable carry bags. That means to collect the waste and dispose it, you have a black big carry bag, bags, no, waste collecting bags. You can say waste collecting bags. So this will be very big in size, and they will collect the waste and they will recycle. A lot of airports and all you see. Okay, particularly in hospitals, they have 3 colored waste collecting bags, maybe red, yellow, and green, something like that. So depending upon the hazardous waste in the hospitals, they classify all these 3, and most of these waste collected bags are packed and they are incinerated, because anything in the hospitals, it is hazardous material where the bacteria is going to come into contact. So therefore it has to be incinerated. That means incineration means you will burn it off in a well designed incinerator. The fumes will go into the environment. See, anything you are burning into environment, it is not desirable, right? It will produce carbon dioxide, and therefore you should mostly avoid it. But in the hospital waste, there is no other alternate. It has to be incinerated. So there are specially designed incinerators. They collect this waste from hospitals and they will burn into the environment, in the incinerator, and they will completely dispose it off. That means you don't say anything. So in such applications, why do you need biodegradable? Anybody can be wise enough suggesting the biodegradable waste collection bags? After all, you are going to burn only. Anybody? But there is a one pollution control board. It insisted all the hospitals to use biodegradable waste collection bags. And with this one decision, there are so many entrepreneurs which were manufacturing these waste collection bags from the recycled plastic in whatever I said, 3 colors, red, yellow, green and all. And they are become completely, in embarrassed situation, and almost they stopped their industry, because so many entrepreneurs having a small industry, they used to manufacture these recycled bags and give it to hospitals. Now that bag was around 10, 15 to 20 rupees, very big, it will be around 50, 60 kg size. Then what happened is, when the pollution control board has brought the regulation that it has to be made with only biodegradable, you see this kind of the dishonest decisions will lead to some other problems. So because of that, so many entrepreneurs closed their industry, and the big players who are manufacturing these biodegradable films, They introduced this into the hospitals, and at the cost of around 50 to 60 rupees per bag. Because biodegradable, all the viewers or all the participants, I would say that there is a price difference between biodegradable and conventional plastic. All of you know that, no? Biodegradable plastic and say polyethylene bag. What is the difference? First of all, cost, right? So biodegradable raw material to produce the bag, it will be around 3 to 300 plus. And whereas the polyethylene is around, it was less than 80 rupees. Now, like petrol price, no, the plastics price also gone up. If you see the plastic industry, they are really suffering, because manufacturing industries, you see, the even HDP has gone up to 120 rupees. And it shooted more than that. Now it is little bit reduced. Okay, but still it is expensive. Okay, so biodegradable is around 3 times costlier than polyethylene, right? So now that is why the hospitals were buying for 50 rupees per bag. And finally, what you are doing? You are going to burn it. Then for burning, if it is a recycled waste collection bag or biodegradable bag, how does it matter? Can you justify this? So these kind of blind decisions, or biased decisions should not be taken by the government, so that it will lead to some other problems, right? Okay, that's a different topic. So let us go to the now. As far as my concern, I have clarified you what is biodegradable and what is conventional, right? So in the packaging industry, whether it is a carry bag, wherever it is, most of us, you know that the biodegradable is not necessary, because if you are having a littering habit, it is not going to help. Okay, these are some of the topics which I have. Okay, these are the statistics which I have got latest statistics, where the plastics per capita consumption is very high in so many countries, like North Atlantic Federation for Trade Association. They are US, Canada, and Brazil, I believe. These are the countries in the NAFTA. So they are all having the per capita consumptions in 3 colors I have given, you see. Okay. And I think it is a year based. Okay. So it is around 139 kgs, it has gone up. And some of the where our country stands, you can see. So in the Asian countries, now ours is even the including China and all, we are having around 36 kg and all. But if you see in India, it is per capita consumption is around 11 kgs now, 11 kg per capita consumption. So in future, the plastic consumption is still going to grow. You cannot stop the consumption of plastic, because without which it is very difficult to survive. So there are some of the other statistics in the European countries and all. These presentations I will give you, please. Okay. So end use of plastic applications in India. So these are the again, you see plastic packaging industry is having the more consumption. This is some of the demand and production in the polymer. Okay, let us now this slide. I used to give this where the recycling particular type is coming. Okay, so you see that now the plastics which are having a short life, they are accumulating into the environment, right? See, anybody can tell that plastics are producing poisonous gases in the environment? No, absolutely, right? Then why you are so much crying that plastics are producing pollution in the environment? Is it really so? They produce any toxic gases? So as long as they carry back lying with the wet waste, it is not going to produce any gas, hazardous gases and all. But it is not good, no? It looks very awkward in the environment, and it will lead to some other things, right? So if you really speaking, there are so many sources where the pollution is more into the environment, like automobile. When you are consuming the fuel in the automobile, so that will lead to a lot of pollution into the environment. But plastics, when they are accumulating in environment, it gives a anesthetic look, and it will lead to now some problems. Definitely, when it is like huge, like big hills, it is accumulating. Where you see some of the dumping yards, outskirts of the Delhi and all, some places. No need to specifically say. Almost every city, these dumping yards you see, kilometers, all this plastic waste is now accumulating. So that is extremely difficult to collect it and recycle it. So therefore, the solution is that you please take care about stopping the one minute, please. हाँ अरुण बोलिए. हेलो. ओके 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 ओके. हेलो डॉक्टर अश्विनी.
Yes, sir.
There is a call from head office for joining the meeting. I don't know what I should do. I'll just go through fast now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No issue, sir.
Okay. If some other time I can take the class in better manner, I'll give you the presentation
Slides.
as well as some of the videos I have for the
Yes, sir.
paralysis process.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
please.
That will be fine.
Okay. So if you see that now, the particularly carry bag, multi-layer films, woven sacks, bottles, disposable cups, biomedical plastic products, syringes, etc. These are the short life plastic products which will result into the what do you call the pollution. So whereas if you see long life materials, where products which you are using like chairs, carpets, pipes, profiles, automobile components, household components, etc. So they have a long life and accumulating in the environment. You don't see that because they can be easily collected and recycled, right? So these are some of the resources for plastic waste, where from it is coming and all. This is the scenarios what I was telling. If you don't handle it properly, it will lead to this kind of scenarios. Okay, these are the source segregation techniques, and all these things you must be already having a lot of presentations of putting a recycling mark and separating it and recycling the metal. These are the some of the recycling centers which is not in our country. I think I have taken from other than the other countries only. Okay, these are the segregation techniques. Okay, these are some of the waste recycling techniques. Okay, so in-house recycling, mechanical recycling, mixed waste recycling, feedstock recycling. These are whatever right hand side is there, particularly that takes place into the mostly industry. Okay, the waste to oil, which is the topic which is related to pyrolysis. I will show you some of the pyrolysis techniques are there here. Some plastics also can be converted into monomers like polyacrylates like PMMA, PET can be reconverted into the monomer by depolymerization process. This is also comes under the pyrolysis, one kind of pyrolysis technique only. Okay, controlled degradation will lead to now the again monomer, and again the monomer will be available into around 99% purity, then it can be recycled again. For producing the plastics. So PET actually initially PET bottles were not recycled at all. Nobody used to take it initially. Some long back, I think you must have not seen that when we used to see around 10, almost 15 years back, more than that, I believe. So even the railways, when you are using these PET bottles, you have to crush it and put it into the bins, because it can never be nobody used to recycle that, because recycling was more expensive than the virgin material. So that is the reason the PET was not recycled initially. Now people have come up with a lot of advanced technologies, and this is the glycolysis process is the one where the some recycled monomer as well as pure monomer can be put together, and again you can produce the PET. So there are some industries which produce now PET recycling is a good business. You can write one industry name. Ganesh Ecosphere is the one important industry which is frontline industry in India which recycles PET. They have the much bigger facility than even Reliance. Ganesh Ecosphere, you can see that. So PET recycling has become now, because of some advanced technologies, where the chemical recycling is the one technique which improves the profits and reduces the price of the recycling of PET. So this PMMA depolymerization is already known to us. It will go back to the monomer, and then you can again produce the virgin polymer from PMMA when you separate it PMMA. This is what is the plastic to monomer, and then petrochemical feedstock, and last goes to energy. If you are not able to use as a monomer, you can use it as a, this is the one I want to show you. So this is the plastic oil. The fuel oils are made by pyrolysis process of the plastic waste. Like in some dumping yards, you have these pyrolysis reactors, where actually speaking it is a controlled temperature as well as inert environment. If you decompose the material, particularly plastics, polyethylene, polypropylene, even these carry bags, everything, they are able to convert into the oils which can be used as a for energy producing, right? Not exactly like producing back to petrol, diesel, these kind of things. But there are people claiming, I think you would have seen some people who are converting this plastic waste into fuel. They are saying that the secondary diesel and fuel, petrol are made in this, and which is now they are priced at around 60 to 70 rupees per liter they are selling. You can see so many videos and all those things. In fact, there are certain truth in that. They can controlled way, you can depolymerize this, and you can go to the carbon chain length around 8 to 10 carbon atoms, then it can be used as a fuel also, like substitute for diesel as well as petrol. But once you converting process is more expensive, then you cannot. This is the last option I can say, because there are so many recycling processes are available for the plastics. This is the least way you can say that the plastic waste to fuel producing is the last option. You should go for pyrolysis. Thank you. I have one video also. I will share with Dr. Ashwini Mahapatra.
Yes, sir. So anyone is having any doubt, then you can ask immediately, or you can contact sir later, because sir is busy now.
There is a video, so I will send you, madam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This video is there already. I am showing one video. You see.
I'll share this with every participant.
Are you able to see this video?
Yes, sir. It is.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir.
They are used in an enormous and expanding range of products, from paper clips to spaceships. But this same wonder material
Sir, could you just increase the volume?
for use
Yes, sir. Volume is a bit lower.
in the United States alone. 85% of today's plastic, a colossal 25 million tons,
83.
until that in 2009. That's enough plastic waste to line 13 rows of garbage trucks end to end from San Francisco all the way to New York every year. Currently, the dominant method for recycling plastic involves converting them to pellets for reuse. However, Such recycling is limited to plastic waste screening that has the same or compatible resins, since a significant proportion of post-consumer and post-industrial plastic waste is an inseparable mix of different polymers, such as HDPE, LDPE, polypropylene, and polystyrene, and is contaminated with dirt. It cannot be recycled and is disposed to landfills. Ventana, a waste-to-energy company, has developed technology for converting waste plastics to petroleum fuels, offering thereby the twin advantage of landfill
Arun, link for joining meeting here.
of high economic value.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
SPC, no? That link, can you send me WhatsApp? I'll join.
Long-chain hydrocarbons
Okay, sir.
synthesized from crude oil derivatives
Yes, sir.
such as ethylene and propylene. They are manufactured by linking together.
Mail only I am seeing. I am not able to connect. SPC, no? There is one mail is there.
In a process called polymerization.
1 minute.
Ventana's technology, these long chains are cracked and molecularly rearranged to yield shorter length chains, which are then condensed to generate petroleum fuels. The company has successfully commissioned a fully continuous pilot where end-of-life waste plastics from municipal and industrial sources are converted into lighter petroleum fuels. Ventana's technology accepts raw, unwashed, mixed waste plastic from municipal, industrial, commercial, or agricultural sources. Using simple methods, it separates plastics from the incoming stream, which have high hydrocarbon content, for further processing and conversion to fuels. The technology deploys companies' patent-pending, fully continuous process to generate about 4.7 to 6 barrels of liquid fuel from 1 ton of waste plastic. The conversion process also generates an LPG-like off-gas, which can be looped back to meet a significant part of the process's energy requirements, as opposed to other technologies, which convert waste plastics to liquid slurries and waxes using a batch mold refluxing or thermal degradation process. Ventana's technology uses a robust, fully continuous process to generate lighter fuels which approximate petroleum distillates such as gasoline, kerosene, and diesel.
What we have here is a fully continuous plant. The process is capable of removing residual solid matter such as carbon char and other contaminants that come with the plastic feedstock such as mud and dirt on a continuous ongoing basis without the need to stop plant operations.
The technology achieves up to 90 to 95% conversion of waste plastics into petroleum fuels and LPG-like gases and generates minimal residue. It deploys standard scrubbers and process beds to ensure compliance to stringent emission norms. Using innovations in green chemistry and by designing a fully continuous process, Ventana has significantly reduced the capital cost of plant and machinery. Besides creating green jobs, the technology promotes ecological sustainability by providing a supplementary route for fuel generation, which avoids greenhouse gas emissions associated with drilling, piping, and refining. Offers a disruptive to solve the global challenge of plastic waste. Sustainable future.
Hello?
Sir.
Can you just stop it now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. I have a meeting to join the other meeting.
Yes, sir. Thank
Okay.
you very much,
I
sir.
will
Thank you
send
very
you the
much.
presentation and the video. Some more videos are also there.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you very much, sir. So the participants, if you are having any queries, then you can, I'll send you the contact details of Dr. Amanullah sir, and you can directly contact him, and all the details like the PPTs and videos I'll be sharing with you all.
Thank you all the participants. Thank you so much.
So thank you all for listening to all these sessions patiently, and tomorrow again we'll start at 10 a.m. I hope you people are benefited from all these sessions. I'll be sharing the this feedback form if possible, or else through this attendance sheet only you can give your feedback. Okay, then thank you all. Thank you all. Attendance link. कितना attendance link?